18 players of the national soccer squad, 5 officials, a journalist and crew died on Tuesday night in a plane crash 2 kilometers off the coast of Gabon. The national team was on its way to Senegal for a Group B World Cup qualifiers tie in Dakar.
It's not something which I can simply accept right now at the moment as a citizen of this country.
We are all emotionally involved, you know, because those are our brothers. You know, it's a tragedy which is beyond description.
We took several pictures together as a squad, and I've got one here. And it's only myself and Kalusha and Mel who are still alive now. Everybody is gone, you know.
On the 27th of April 1993, the plane carrying the Zambian national football team crashed off the coast of Gabon. All 30 passengers and crew perished. 18 of them were international footballers, and with them went the hopes of a nation. The team had been travelling to Senegal to play a World Cup qualifier, but the Zambian FA, unable to afford to fly the team commercially or charter a plane, decided to use a military aircraft. The exact cause of the crash would take years to uncover, and there was a breakdown of relations between Zambia and Gabon. They were the best Zambian side of all time and had been in a strong position to qualify for the 1994 FIFA World Cup finals in the USA. The team were nicknamed the KK11, after the country's former president, Kenneth Kaunda, a great promoter of the sport in his country.
I knew all those boys by name, first name. We had worked together for a long, long time. And it was just indescribable. Couldn't believe it at all.
Following the tragedy, the National Federation received widespread offers of support. Denmark gave them training facilities and the expertise of coach Roald Poulsen, and they recruited from the local leagues. This wasn't easy. Power Dynamos, the leading Zambian club at the time, lost 5 players alone. The new team was reshaped around the 3 players who hadn't been on the plane: Charles Masonda, Johnson Bawalya and Kalusha Bawalya, the only Zambian to be named African Footballer of the Year.
When that life is taken out of the team, you feel that how is it possible that we're going to recover? You know, to bring up a new team, how are we going to do it? And so for me, in the beginning, I thought, you know, it was lost. We're never going to come back again. Until, you know, after 1, 2, 3, 4 days, the late president then, Frederick Chiluba, he said that we should go on. And the people said, no, we should go on. We should go out and do justice and honor the players that have died off the coast of Gabon.
5 weeks after the disaster, Zambia were ready for their next World Cup qualifying match against Morocco in Lusaka. They fell behind early, but roared on by a vociferous home crowd, they fought back. A well-taken free kick from Kalusha brought them level, before a long-range effort from the captain's unrelated namesake, Johnson Bawalya, gave them an emotional victory. But history shows that the team narrowly missed out on qualification for USA '94. Needing a point from their final group game against Morocco in Casablanca, they lost 1-0. The following year, Zambia finished runners-up to Nigeria at the Africa Cup of Nations in Tunisia. Considering the circumstances, it was remarkable.
That year was probably the most difficult year for any footballer playing football in Zambia, because every day we were reminded, and we had an obligation. I don't know how we did it, but we were, you know, 1/2 away from going to the World Cup in 1994, and we lost in the final of Africa Cup of Nations against all odds. So really, really pleased for the class of 1994, because maybe we're not the most talented, but I think that the team played as a team, you know, incredibly. So we controlled games, won the hearts of many people.
The team were renamed Chipolo Polo, which means the Copper Bullets, and their achievements helped heal the national consciousness. But for the bereaved families, the wounds have taken far longer to heal. Freeman Chabala was only 7 when his father David died. He was the national team's goalkeeper and at the time, Zambia's most capped player.
I hardly understood what it meant. So when I was told, I don't really remember any reactions I made, whether I cried or things like that, but no, I did not understand what it was. And then anybody that I asked what it meant, I was only told that your dad is not coming back. And I kept on wondering why Dad would decide not to come back.
Now aged 27, Freeman is himself a professional footballer. He's enjoyed a successful career in the Zambian top flight, including stints with Nkwazi and Red Arrows, but his passion for the game doesn't extend to his whole family. Joyce Chabala is Freeman's mother. She's also the spokesperson for the victims' families, and for the past 2 decades, she's campaigned to learn the whole truth behind the crash. A preliminary investigation report released by the Gabonese government in 2003, though never made fully public, claimed it was due to a faulty engine and pilot error. That leaves Joyce and the other families with a number of questions. Why had an 18-year-old military plane with a history of technical faults been allowed to fly the national team on a journey of 6,000 kilometers?
I don't know why the government has come to make it a secret, because we are supposed to know what really transpired on that fateful night, because when they left, they were just okay, with sound mind, in good health. So when they died, we are supposed to know. I think the time the government will tell us what really transpired on that fateful night, I think it's when this issue will come to rest.
3 years ago, in the wake of anger from the victims' families, Kalusha, who's now the president of the Football Association of Zambia, announced plans to create a fund to benefit those left bereaved by the Gabon disaster.
For the families, I think that you miss one member of a family, it's always going to be difficult. I think I cannot put myself in that situation. It was I was a team player, and there were my colleagues and my friends and my brothers. And then afterwards in a team sport, you bring new people on board and you move on. But I think it's very, very difficult for the families, to be able to move on.
And then last year, history came full circle. In their first match in Gabon since that fateful day in 1993, Zambia won their first ever Africa Cup of Nations. Under the stewardship of Frenchman Hervé Renard, Japolo Polo beat tournament favourites the Ivory Coast in Libreville.
When we played our first game of the tournament, the final seemed a long way off, but it was always our goal to be there. We'd been through a lot already before we reached the final in Libreville, but the day before we went to visit the place where the crash happened. It was a very emotional day. It gave us strength because we all wanted to be there in the final and win in memory of those who died in the plane crash representing their country. It was fantastic for us to win the tournament, something for us to give to Zambia.
If somebody had told me in 1993 if that would have happened, I would, not believe them. But we had that faith, that we'll come back one day and we'll be even much stronger.
When they won the Africa Cup, it brought sad memories because that was the place where my husband died. Exactly, Gabon, Libreville, even the time when I saw the players at the site, even this time when I see that clip, even winning the cup didn't bring any happiness to me. I hate football.
It's been 20 long years since the worst day Zambian football has ever, and hopefully will ever, experience. Despite the amazing triumph of the new generation, there's still a hole at the heart of the game here, occupied by the thought of what a great team might have achieved. Their final resting place in the shadow of the new National Heroes Stadium in Lusaka is a constant reminder to every Zambian player that's come since that they play not for themselves, but for their country.
From that day, I've never relented. I feel it is my obligation, and of course the obligation of the country to do justice, to bring back those glory days, to show that Zambia, one team can be gone, but another team is there today.
I miss him a lot. That's why I've even stayed for 20 years, haven't remarried. I always think about my husband. I really miss him very much.